The following TBT interview with Christopher Drew was pre-recorded on the 18th of May 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TBT Interviews, also known as the Burning Truth Interviews. I'm the host, Matt Burns, and with us today we have, I could say so many nicknames and whatnot, but this is the man, the gentleman, Christopher Drew.
So, hello there, Matt. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. I take it you didn't expect that nickname to be mentioned first.
No, it's just when you said the man and then that pause, I was immediately like, don't you fucking dare.
Why not?
Nickname that's already evaluated me that only a select few actually know about. So thank God it wasn't done on worldwide TV.
Don't worry. We'll keep them guessing what it is. It will not be revealed.
Yet.
Not yet. Maybe an interview too. When we come back round.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Depending how the first one goes and I don't get you kicked off.
Good point, but I doubt you'll get us kicked off. Because, fair enough, we do this off Spreaker and we do have YouTube. Pretty hard to get kicked off. Anyway, one thing I will say is this man, I've actually travelled down the road and I've been on many shows with him. Fantastic worker, knows his craft, knows how to entertain the crowd up and down, the UK and everything. One thing I will say is, tell us a bit about yourself.
Where do you want me to begin? A bit about myself. I could start anywhere, but where would you like me to start?
You can start from where you're from, when you started wrestling, what got you into wrestling.
Oh, right then. Well, I am actually from Stourbridge, part of the Black Country, born and bred since 1991 at the old Worsley Hospital that used to be across the road from where I live, but it's now knocked down now, but the tower clock still remains. I'd say what really got me started into wrestling was one of the most unreal things in my mind, because normally people say, oh yeah, when I was really young I watched this match and I was instantly hooked in this, that. It wasn't actually a match that I first saw. Like I said, it was in 2004 and it was, I'd say, beginning of June, around June. It was the summertime. And I was flicking through the channels looking for something to watch because I was premature sexual hard drive fantasy welfare back then. And
You're keeping yourself entertained.
Well, you've got to keep yourself entertained, but not on pre-adult entertainment. And I come across... okay, literally, don't take that out of context after what I just said.
I never said a word.
You're thinking it. Sky One.
I wouldn't do that.
Sky One, and it was about 11 o'clock in the morning, and SmackDown was on. The good era of SmackDown. And the first thing I saw was Paul Heyman with this golden jar by the looks of it, which obviously was The Undertaker's urn. And he was saying that, he has the power of The Undertaker in his hands. And immediately right then I was kind of like, what? Because I heard of The Undertaker before, from other people that talked about wrestling when I was younger. But when he said that, I was instantly like, okay, you got my interest. And Undertaker comes down and Heyman's demanding to join us or something will happen to Paul Bearer. And I literally saw The Undertaker get down on one knee and raise his arm to Heyman, and my jaw dropped because I'm like, someone's just got hold of The Undertaker, and that's what got me hooked.
Yeah,
so it was
you didn't know the product, but you felt like you knew it.
I felt like, because immediately then I was like, I've got to see what's happening next week now. And, obviously, for that period of time, I actually took a bit of a break. I couldn't catch it because, I was still new to the product. Mm-hmm. And when I caught it again, it was the cage match with Bradshaw and Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship.
Wow.
And that was and if anybody says what match started you off, it was that match, that cage match, even with the interference with Kurt Angle. It
Hey,
was tremendous.
everybody starts somewhere and whatnot. Not everyone started like watching from WrestleMania or SummerSlam or big pay-per-view. It could just be the tiniest of things that can get you into
Yeah.
it. For myself, I feel a little bit lucky with me personally. When I first watched it, it was like the Hogan eras and whatnot.
Well, so were you in like the 80s, or were you like the 90s, like
I
Hulk
was
Hogan
sort
era?
of early 90s. I
Oh, so
was
you were like towards the end of the Hogan era into the NWO one, into the
so,
Hollywood era, shall we say?
no, I was sort of into the Hogans, the Savages and whatnot, the
Ooh.
Jake the Snake Roberts
Yeah.
and whatnot, and I sort of caught it at a bit of a lucky break, and then sort of came out of it. Don't know what. I just sort of didn't quite grasp me as much as later
Hmm.
years. Then all of a sudden I started watching a bit later. Saw the new generation and
Oh
whatnot,
yeah.
and started to get more interested into it. Watched it here and there. Uh, Broke off a little bit, and then all of a sudden went into high school and then found a group of lads that were into wrestling, and I felt like I could be me and whatnot.
Was it?
Because during that time, not everyone was as open being a wrestling fan. Because some
Now this
people,
was before the Attitude Era, where it was actually acceptable again, wasn't it?
yeah, pretty much. And it was like, but then eventually, a few, I got bumped into a few people. Then all of a sudden, it was like a big group of us started watching. It was like it wasn't just like oh, I watch this now and again. It was literally, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And it proper pushed it that much further. And then my love for it just went through the roof. And then I don't think I've ever not loved wrestling for what it is. I think
So
it's one of
never
the
ever.
never ever. Please don't sue. I'll just
Please
say
don't.
that. But honestly, I've been a massive fan of it, and I think the stuff that you can do with wrestling at times can be more powerful than watching regular shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, and I'm not kidding you, I've seen guys who have gone. I've seen wrestlers make fathers look amazing in front of the children and whatnot when they didn't need to and whatnot. So the kids see their father in like a massive open light. Their dad's a superhero. He just beats up a wrestler. He just almost hurt a wrestler's hand who we saw earlier fighting for a championship.
Yeah.
And it can mean so much more, I think.
Is it? Oh, definitely. I say it can mean so much more because they always say, look, oh, reach out to the kids, reach out. You get this as well, like, and it's just saying, oh yeah, it's a kids show, it's a kids show. But the funny thing is, like, I learned not that far into when I was training, the kids will almost cheer for anything, but if you can make that one man with his arms folded, if you can get him to react, you've got the crowd. Because if you got him and he's an elder guy and he's like, oh, well, this is nonsense. Oh, well, I'm only here because I brought my lad here. But if
Yeah.
you get him involved as well, then all of a sudden the kids get louder then because then this adult's got jumped in and other adults feel comfortable jumping in. It's like a domino effect.
Like it literally is a domino effect, and then and I've been involved with matches where I love seeing what a lot of wrestlers, a lot of fans wouldn't understand some terminology like the big cheer and whatnot.
I like the pop.
Yeah, I had a match where I've actually been on the receiving end of a pop and also know how it feels to be giving a helping to a sister pop.
Yeah.
Because I've had a pop where I've literally had someone do like a bit of a call out and I've gone out and made the save and whatnot,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden proper pop, and also it's like, where pick on somebody your own size and whatnot. And it started, really erupting. It was like, I think you were there, if I'm not mistaken.
Was this a United Wrestling one? Was it?
No, this was the Slam.
No, because you wrestled. No, the Slam that I was at, where you was at, you wrestled. Was it? Oh, I'm trying to think his name now. But you were a heel. You weren't a babyface. You were a heel.
Not that one. It was a tag match I ended up doing. It was me and. Oh, I'm trying. It was a tag match. I definitely remember it. It was in Breeze Sands. Kilbane and Tim.
No, I wasn't there for that.
Oh, you weren't. Regardless of it, I will say this. It felt brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And whatnot. Big pop for me coming out making the save. But then I've also done it where I've been a champion. I held it for 15 months. I've had him hit his finisher on me. He didn't get the job done.
Oh.
And in case you wonder what his finisher was, he called it the Overjoy.
More like the Overkill by the sound of it.
The move was the Buff Blockbuster.
So that was it for the finish?
That was his finisher.
And he didn't build up to it, or?
Oh, we built up to it. He hits me with it. It didn't get the job done. I kick out. The crowd are like, "Oh, he's never going to win. There's never going to be a new champion. He's going to win."
Oh, right, yeah.
Go for my finisher. He counters me into an STF in the middle of the ring. A modified STF. The popping. I start to crawl. The crowd starts to dwindle. I get close to the ropes, they're dwindling more. I'm reaching out for the ropes. They in their mind, they're thinking, nah, he's grabbing that rope. Just as I'm about to reach, my hand starts to shake. Their initial thought of doubt comes into their mind, and then I just tapped. The place.
So the anticipation was there, like you just let them hold on a bit more.
I did. And I'll never ever forget I remember the person at in the front row. I don't mean they didn't just stand. They leapt out.
I know that feeling. That's a great feeling. Happened to me. It happened to me. I'm going back to last year now, like April last year. I was in the main event at. It's kind of like a two-part story. Like one bit is funny and one bit's about the about that with the pop. Like I say, it was wrestling in Hinckley. It was the main event. It was the first time that the championship was on the line because it had been the champion had been determined the previous show. So this one was the first title defense. So I took it upon myself to say, well, I'm gonna set the bar for championship matches. Because if there's one thing I hate is that when it comes to a championship match and it doesn't feel like it was, you walk away and you're just like, nah, it was all right. I want people to walk away going, oh, God, that was a great championship match. Mm-hmm. Because then the next championship match that they have, people will look forward to it regardless of who it is. Like, it's building the title.
Yeah.
So, me being a huge Ric Flair fan, I turn around to the promoter and I turned around to him and I said, I'm going to make this match last 40 minutes, at least. To which the promoter turned around to me and said, no way. There is no chance in hell you can pull. No, you're not going to pull it off and you're not going to be able to keep the crowd involved for that long. You're going to drag it. And I just went, okay. And he went, just stick to 20 minutes. I was like, okay. 42 minutes, 17 seconds later. But the thing was, though, with that, the first 10 minutes of that match, I did like 5 headlock spots, and the crowd weren't bored. They popped for each one for the guy. And like when it came to the cut-off, they were booing me. And then when we got up, they were cheering him. They were booing me. Every move he hit, they cheered for him. Every move I hit, they booed. And then when he got to the finish, I jumped off the crossbody. He moved. I smacked the canvas and I jump up and I grab my left knee and I'm screaming. as loud as I can, and I'm just like, my knee, I'm screaming, and I'm like, my knees hurt, ow, no, stop, ow. Then when they're distracted, like what they're gonna do, I crawl on my hands and knees like the weasel that I am. I low blow him and I roll him up. 1, 2, 3. Big, huge boos for it. It's like, oh my god, no, he cheated. Oh, that's this ref. How could you allow that? And then when I'm about to go through the curtain, the ring announcer stops me, who's the boss. And he went, you said you would win it fair and square. That wasn't fair. Get back in the ring. Get back in the ring right now. And of course, you could feel the crowd getting like, oh, it's not over yet. Jumps over the top rope onto me, throws me in, swanton bomb, 1, 2, 3. They all jumped. They leapt into the air. Babies were thrown in the air. It was oh man. I just remember lying there going, oh God, I don't smoke, but I could go for a cigarette right now. It's like I just had sex. It was a great feeling.
There's matches where, however, you can also have the opposite effect on some matches where you're like, oh, just get me out of here. Have you had them ones yet? Have you ever had one of them? A match so bad it's just get me out of here.
Oh, Jesus. More times than I care to count, because of the person who I was with. And like I said, Matt, you've seen me as a heel. I bust my ass to get people to hate me so much that they cheer the other guy and they remember him. But when the guy I'm working with, he won't pull his end, it makes my job even, because now they're just like, they're only reacting to everything I do, which is not, it's always good, it's not the, boo, the typical that you want. So when the baby face is not doing anything for you, it's just like, I'm fucking done. I've been in here now for 5 minutes and he's not doing anything. I'm done. But me trying to be the consummate professional, I'm just like, look, I got a job to do. Let me just get the job done so I can get the fuck out of here. And yeah, it's happened to me numerous times.
For me, I had to do one match where I was the experienced one, and it was a triple threat, and I'm known how to deal with triple threats and whatnot. Yeah. This match went so. This went so bad, right? When it came to, are we close to finish? Yep, we are. Yep. It was nothing, and the weird thing about it is, it wasn't anything to do with some of the workers.
Yeah.
It was nothing went right. When I mean, nothing went. I mean. When you hit a move and you go for get the big chair, it's like, did I just see tumbleweed?
Yeah.
And it was like, it doesn't feel great. And I was like, oh. And luckily enough, we ended up wrapping the match up. The lads were they felt a little bit, upset about it, because they thought with me, I'd be angry with them and everything. I just goes, listen, low. Nothing. It was nothing to do with Dan. It was a bad night. It was just a bad night.
Oh, you got, like I said, when you get into situations like that where nothing goes right, that's where you even when you feel to yourself, you don't get yourself worked up over it, but you end up working yourself up over about it, like, oh, what the fuck's going wrong here? Why are you doing this? Why aren't I doing this? Why isn't this happening? Why are the crowd reacting to this?
And take into account this match, it didn't feel that great. And I've been in a match where I got kicked in the face, my nose bleeding.
Oh.
And we actually thought I had a broken nose.
Worst feeling in the world.
Thought. But the good thing about it is it completely changed the dynamic of the match, because I went from fun loving to throwing him over the top rope, pretty much. So it changed the dynamic of the match, which we ended up finishing it in quite a bit of a cool way.
Okay.
He riled me up that much. I wanted to basically get back at him. get him against the post outside the ring because I throw him over the ropes. He starts fighting coward. I get him back, hit him in the post, and I think, shall I splash him against the post? The crowd are loving it. As I run in, he moves.
Uh-oh.
You can see what's coming, can't you?
You went full on head first into the buckle, didn't you, with your bloody face and everything?
Not in the buckle. This is outside the ring.
Oh, it's outside the ring. Oh, you went full on into the post, didn't you?
In the post.
Oh.
I hit the post. I'm draped over the side ring. He nails me with a super kick. With me head against the post.
I take it that did not go very well.
10 count.
You were gone.
Count it out. Quite literally count it.
I love like how we're like a question on how I got into wrestling and we ended up here.
I know. This is what an interview is. But I'll tell you what, we'll get back onto track. Seeing as we've gone way off. Where did you initially start your wrestling career?
I started at FCW. No, not Florida Championship Wrestling. No, I'm not that good. I was at Future Championship Wrestling, and I actually started there under the tutelage first of Kevin O'Neill, the Tomcat, and
isn't that in Gornal?
Yeah, in Gornal. Yeah,
it's in Gornal, or as some people keep saying, Cornwall. Gornal.
No.
Someone had to bring it up.
Someone had to, didn't they? But to say the training was it was a little bit mismanaged, shall we say, is a bit of an understatement, because he'd warm you up and everything, which was fine, getting you so physically drained, and then to go in and do the bumps in, because that's what you got. That's endurance. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to it'd show you to do a spot, but then instead of watching you and correcting you, he would go and sit down and be talking to someone, or then he'd be on his phone or what have you. But it didn't last long. I'd say it lasted about 5 months. Mm-hmm. And then there was I won't go into it because I don't know the full details. I'm not going to drag names into anything that I don't have no
change of
full information. But all I can say was there was a dispute with Tomcat, Kevin O'Neill, and Lee Massey, known to the wrestling fans as Mark Hogan, Heavy Metal Maniac, and Kevin ended up leaving the company. So then...
You had a disagreement.
Well, I'll leave it at that. It was something like that.
That's the best way of putting it. Because, they had a disagreement, and it does happen. So then I can imagine the training moved into a different direction.
So, well... When it came to take over, Massey went back to basics, because Massey is a very old school guy. I mean, very old school. I mean, he was around when Steve Logan was still wrestling, and when the Hunters had just started wrestling, and Brandon Thomas had just broke into the business. So you can see what I mean. He's very from that era of old school, and so he he beat the absolute shit out of us. Every month we got the absolute crap kicked out of us.
I know that feeling.
But it's good, though. It's good because it's one of those where they beat the hell out of you and then see if you'd come back next time to receive some more.
And it's sort of, when you actually got to the ring, you had more pride in it.
Yeah, you had a lot more respect for it. Plus, it weeded out the people who actually wanted to be there rather than the people who thought it was going to be a piss thing to learn.
Yeah.
Which I can tell everybody right now, it's not. It's not.
Wait. Does getting slammed hurt? Does gravity hurt?
The thing is, though, because they say, but they bump and then they get back up, and I'm just like, but they're used to it. They say, you go and fall on some, some plywood and some steel, and let's see how quickly you get back up. Oh, God, I hate people like that. This is one thing I will give Massey a lot of credit for. This is the thing, he didn't do this to any. To best of my knowledge, he didn't do it to anybody else in that class in that year. But he pulled me aside one night and he turned around to me and he said, "You drive, don't you?" And I went, "Yeah, I've got a car." And he was like, "Do you know how to get to Tipton?" And I was like, I can find out. Yeah, because obviously back then we got sat navs. Hooray for sat navs! Get us more out of the shit than ever. And he says, "You obviously know the Hunter brothers, don't you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've seen them wrestle, at FCW because I attended the shows as well at FCW."
Yeah.
And he went, "Well, they've got a training facility. I recommend you go there. Go there and get more training. They'll train every week, and they're really good trainers." And when I went there, this was December time. I went there, so then my training with the Hunters started. Oh, you want proper training? Go to the Hunters or go to Fight Club Pro. They will work you to death, and that's what the business needs. It needs people that can endure it. Rather than people that, go in and they get gassed in the first 5 minutes. No, they need people that can go 20, 25, 30 minutes and still be able to go for another 15, 20 minutes if need be. And they run you to the ground. I mean, rope running, okay, next person, rope running, okay, next person, rope running. Right, both of you, fast as you can, faster, faster, faster. Drop, press ups now, 1, 2, 3. Oh, Christ, it felt like you were in the army. And that was just Lee. That was just Lee Hunter.
That's not
Jim.
Jim was more familiar.
No, Jim was more relaxed, but Jim would still work you. But he wasn't as he wouldn't work you as hard as Lee would. Like, because Jim's so laid back. If Jim was even more laid back, he'd be walking horizontal. But that's what they were. The Clarks as well. The Clarks would take over the training as well for a bit. So I learned a lot from the Clarks. I learned a hell of a lot from the Clarks.
Also known as Clarkwood.
Known as Clarkwood, yeah. I was there when they got given that name. That was a fun day. A couple of things I did take away from it as well, and this was my early stages of training, was that I got to meet, I'd say, the two most iconic British wrestlers of our generation. Obviously, now we've got the UK Championship Tournament, that's different. Yeah. But at the time, these two were, in my view, they were the top guys in the UK. And I got to meet Rockstar Spud and I got to meet Dave Mastiff.
There you go.
And with the seminars they put on,
yeah,
Mastiff, for a big guy, Mastiff will kill you. He would kill you, eat you, spit you out, and then kill you again.
Every person that we've done an interview with has brought up Massive.
This is it. All been good, I assume.
Everybody have brought him up.
I am not a bad.
No. In proper pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not got a bad thing to say about that guy. I mean, he's hard on you when he needs to be.
I think he says enough badness against himself by calling himself the bastard.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason he's called that, but
yeah, definitely. Why'd you call yourself the bastard? Find out.
Yeah. Like I said, he's hard on you, but he'd be hard on you for the right reasons. Like, he's not hard on you because he's a prick.
No, in actual fact, the funniest thing, I think, in all fairness, he nicknames himself the bastard, but that's the character. The actual person is as much if he's being hard on you, he's being hard on you for a reason, but he's being fair.
Yep, that's the one. Is it? I will actually tell you, a funny sort of actually how I got to know Mastiff a bit more. At the time, I was using I had an orange Peugeot 106, and just like that, I crushed my coolness. Hey, it was 2009. I needed a car.
Take this into account. That's the car. Was that your first car?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And what was yours? Say it again.
A Peugeot 106 Independence, copper orange coloured.
I'm about to hit my pride here now.
Why is that?
Citroen AX green.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of rope in your mum and dad's bedroom if you want to go hang yourself.
1 litre engine. Petrol. That was mine.
Anyway.
So if you want to,
So like,
I just thought to just do that. Give you a bit of props.
Oh yeah. well, thank you very much, sir. My dad was using like a private mechanic for his car and his van at the time, and he said, "Use this guy. He's really good." So I was using this mechanic for a few months, and one time I needed a part, but the mechanic was going away, and he said, "Here's the number. Call them and use my name, and they'll sort everything out for you." And I went, "Well, what name shall I use?" And he went, "Well, use the name Andrew Minton." And I paused. You can see where this is going, but for everybody who doesn't know, I paused and was like, I know that name. I was like, "Do you have a brother?" And he went, "Yes, I do. Yes, I got a brother." And he went, "Is his name Dave?" And he went, "Yeah, he is. How do you know him?" And I was like, "Oh my God, is he a wrestler?" And he went, "Yeah, he is." And I was like, oh, for people who don't know, Dave's real last name is not Mastiff, it's Minton. So his brother was working on my car for months, and I had no clue. So when I found out, it was kind of like could not believe that. Like that was funny how I found that out.
That's cool.
And there was something else I found out with Spud. His favourite word. I found out his favourite word, and the amount of times I've seen him after this, he's not used it much since. But back then, it was his favourite word, and I'm not going to properly say it, but it was a "see you next Tuesday," shall we say? I have never heard somebody use that word. I've never heard him use it so much. I mean, like when we were running drills with him, and all he was, get up, you, oh, come on, you, Literally, I think some of us were literally having a board marking up.
Let's have a tally bet. Will it be below 50 or above 50?
Oh man, I lost count after 125 seconds. But I'd have to say that those two gentlemen right there were at the time, and to be honest, still now are probably the best minds in the UK to ever go to. Mastiff and Spud, I'd say, are the best ones to still go to. Great guys, so down to earth. They'll give you their God's honest opinion because they love the business so much, and that's still how they see it, as a business.
It does, and it's quite clever, and that's how you had your funny moments on meeting someone famous. Have you ever had the chance to meet somebody before they made it bigger on the British scene?
You know what? I'm actually quite glad you asked that question, because I didn't think we would get around to it. But I'm going to say a couple of names now, which a lot of people will probably go, bullshit. But no.
Go on.
Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne.
Same thing with me.
I met Pete Dunne. The first time I met Pete Dunne, I had just started wrestling properly. I'd say this was about like autumn time of 2010, and people will know how old school this is now. He was part of the tag team with Damien Dunn, the Dunn brothers, or the Birmingham City Machine Guns. Or BB Guns, or whatever they were calling themselves. And I said, Pete wasn't the guy that he is now. I'll tell you that. He was a lot different back then.
Yeah.
He really has come a long way, which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud to see how far he's come. But like I said, it's just the fact that that is the first image I remember of him, and seeing him now, I am ever so proud. I am really, really proud.
Should be.
And then Tyler, I actually met Tyler when he was about, I think he was about 14 when I met Tyler. I met Tyler at a Fight Club Pro show. And obviously he was watching along with Dan Maloney. They were watching the shows. And if anybody knows Tyler, he's loved it from a very young age, and he actually started training at a very young age.
Yes.
And he was still a good kid. He was, very bright, very well mannered, very, very funny kid. He was a very funny kid, and I will actually tell you this. It's not 100%, but it's just a bit vague, like it's paraphrasing, shall we say? But he was training at AWW as well as Fight Club, because he's in between those. More training you get, the better you get, obviously.
Yeah.
And Kev was getting very annoyed that Tyler was training at Fight Club, and Kev had this thing where, like, if you missed one training session, you weren't allowed on his shows. No matter how many times you've been out that month, you missed one training session, you're not allowed on his show. And he was like, I almost like to say he was really talking down to Tyler, like. It was almost like he was telling him, like, he was not going to make it, or he wasn't going to be anything special in the wrestling business. Like, it's just the way how he spoke to him. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. You're a trainer, and this is how you're talking to him. Well, to put it in a polite way, Tyler... I said Tyler basically told him to go stick it where the sun don't shine, and, about 4 years later, he's WWE United Kingdom champion. So you tell me who's at loss.
I'll never forget, because I actually met Pete Dunne and Tyler, both of them, at the same company.
Which one was that one?
EDW.
Oh, yeah.
For Shrewsbury. I met Pete Dunne not long after he'd come back from his tour in Japan.
Yeah.
You can see how much he'd changed then. And then met Tyler while he was doing a match. He went out and goes, "What a match, fantastic!" And he goes, "Yeah, not bad for somebody who's 16-year-old. He was 16 years old." What? And I was like, "Yeah, right." And he's got his moustache here.
Oh, so you'd already met him when he properly started with the moustache thing.
I met him with the moustache. I was like, "Yeah, right." Yeah? I goes, "Yeah, prove it." Show me his ID. What the hell? I was like, to be that gifted and that young. And I was like, that's amazing.
I was like, I actually saw...
What threw me, it wasn't the look of him.
It was the size of him.
It was the size and style of him.
Yeah.
How he wrestled. And
it was the...
It's the way he is.
I'll tell you this as well. I actually saw one of Tyler's first matches in Fight Club Pro. It was him and Dan Maloney, and both of them had, the black trunks on, and they were the opening match, and they put on a hell of a show. They put on a match. And like I said, they're both roughly the same age. They were both like 16 at the time, but maybe like 15, 16, around about that time. I can't remember, I'm not actually going to track down somebody's age or anything like that. I just remember seeing that match. And I was talking to them afterwards, and I just remember saying, I actually how much I really enjoyed it, and I said, "You guys keep it up. You guys are going to be something." I just didn't think that this would be how big as they get, because I heard through the grapevine, not from who, I'm not naming names. Like I said again, this is something that I had heard. Whether it's true or not, that's down to them. But somebody had said to me that Tyler would never ever believe he would go to WWE. He never believed he would. As much as it was his dream, he just didn't think they would pick him up because of how short he is.
Yeah.
I heard that from someone. And again, this is where...
Through.
Yeah. Again, this is where it's made me so proud, because whether it's true that he has actually believed that, or he just kept saying, no, one day I will make it. I like that. That's for Tyler. This is, like I said again, this is what I've heard. But, to hear that and then see, no, there he is, and now he's the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion. It's just it's a proud moment. It really is a proud moment. I'm so happy for him. So happy for him.
I'd agree with you on that one, definitely. One thing I will, but anyway, we're gonna have to move this along anyway. I'm gonna have to just mention some. Have you got any wrestlers who inspired you for your style?
For my style, like we're going like all in all, like even like WWE and all this, yeah.
Who helped you become, who
right?
You want to become.
You know what? I'm going right off the bat. The one person I wanted to become was Ric Flair.
To beat the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah. And bearing in mind, like I said, I started watching in 2004, so the first time I saw Flair was on a Raw Rebound, because obviously I didn't have Sky Sports back then. It wasn't that easy to get a hold of. So I was watching Flair on it, and I was just like, I just couldn't put my finger on it, whether it was because he was in the suit and the robe and he had the blonde hair and he was, the woo, all right now. He was just so full of energy. I was like, that's the guy I want to be like. That's the guy I want to be like.
Definitely.
I've always said, like, if I was ever going to do it, like, that was the style I would go for.
Yeah.
And I will name off now, like, 5 names that are instrumental to the style and the way I work now. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Edge, Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Those 5 combined is my character, is me.
Are you trying to make yourself into a charisma magnet?
Not really a charisma, because here's the thing. Look at all 5 of those men. When they were heels, what did they all have in common?
Yeah.
When they were all heels?
Cocky.
Other than that?
You're going to say championships?
No, not championships.
Go on.
Their style.
Yeah.
Watched when, like, the babyface was getting on top of them and how they reacted. They all almost reacted the same way. They made their opponents look so good. And then when they were on top, like you said, they made you hate them for stuff that they weren't even doing yet.
Yeah.
And because that's really old school heel. Because that's one thing I don't like. I don't like cool heels. You're not a heel. You're a good guy. You're a cool guy. You're not a cool bad guy. You're not a cool heel. I don't like that. A heel is everybody. You have to fight to get into the arena, and you have to be chased out with pitchforks and torches. That's a heel. That's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see in like the James Bond movies anybody pull for the villain, do you? They all pull for James Bond.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean. Like, did anybody once say like, "Oh, I want to be like Doctor No," or "I want to be like Goldfinger"? No, they all want to be like James Bond because he's cool. He's got the suit. He's good. He's a good talker.
How you missed the Odd Job and Jaws.
But to be honest, I said Odd Job, and they were more like the side ones. I was on about like the main bad guys, shall we say? But it goes in like any. Like I said, you name me in any film where the bad guy was what everybody wanted to be like in a film.
Well, there's Brick Top out of Snatch, but they don't want the end result of them though.
But you see right there, look, you see like how long that took to get a response like that. But then again, it wasn't like a. I want to be like that. It's not.
No. But that's the thing. It still has questionable doubt because you don't want to be getting shot by Pikes. Sorry about that. Spoiler alert on that film if you haven't seen it.
Because like that's why like Flair was one of the best villains of all time. Yeah. Because Flair could talk. He had everything, and he was not afraid to let you know about it. And that's what got you jealous. And then when it came to in the ring, you wanted so bad because Flair valued the title because it meant he got more money.
Yeah.
So what does everybody want to see? You want to see the rich guy lose everything.
Yeah.
But then when he doesn't do any flashy moves, just one quick roll up with a foot on the ropes or a pull of the tights, hit the brass knuckles, and he wins, and the crowd want to riot. Like, that's a heel, that's a bad guy. And I was like, that's what I wanted. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You look at Shawn Michaels as well, the sexy boy, and every time, like when he won everything like that, people wanted to see him get murdered. They hated him.
Especially when he got Sherry to do his entrance theme as well.
Oh man, you tell Kelsey that. Kelsey used to get a rock hard boner every time he saw that. But anyway, Scott Hall, like when he was like, you know, Razor Ramon, again, he was coming to the ring and he was cocky, he was arrogant, he was smooth, and you hated him for it. Eventually, it did turn against him, but that was smart booking.
Do you know what I thought was so funny?
What's that?
How he came about with that.
No, just did Scarface.
Did Scarface and got lucky because Vince didn't see it.
No, but again, though, like really good booking. You turn somebody without doing anything. Yeah. You let the crowd do it, and it's very clever booking, which they've not done since, really, to turn anybody.
We're not hinting at Roman Reigns here, by the way.
Oh. Maybe, you see, my issue, if anybody was to ask me what's your issue with Roman Reigns, it's not Roman Reigns himself. Personally, I think if he was to walk down an alleyway and you had like 17 guys with you, he'd have knocked you all down before he even blinked. You know, he's that tough.
I would have left. I'm already out of there.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't want to mess with him. But it was just that when the Shield broke up in 2014, who was the first guy that Seth Rollins hit? It was Reigns.
Yeah.
Which, of course, you know, Ambrose is pissed. As you can understand, he just watched his brother get stabbed in the back, blah, blah, blah. But then they focused on Ambrose versus Rollins, and then Reigns was just like, yeah, I've just been backstabbed. And that's it. Then he got into a match with Orton at SummerSlam, and then he wasn't seen then for the rest of the year, and then he wins Superstar of the Year. Yeah. And they wonder why people weren't cheering Roman Reigns. What I would have done, if I was Roman, if you wanted to put the focus on Ambrose and Rollins, go for it. But what I would have done with Reigns is that every week on Raw, he interferes in a match. Lower card guys, and he just goes to town on both of them. He destroys them. Doesn't say a word, just destroys them, and then walks away. Keeps on going. You know, maybe beat a couple of guys in a handicap match on a pay-per-view, you know, to get more brutality out of him. And then you step him up a bit. You step him up to a mid-card. So you get somebody, you know, like a Chris Jericho, or you get like a Randy Orton to help build him up again a bit more, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because now it's like, calm down. And then what's your payoff at the end? Roman Reigns is this badass now. He's been destroying people. Rollins has been running away from him because he's been occupied with Ambrose. Where's your clash? Boom. Rollins versus Reigns, which is what everybody would have wanted to see.
It just didn't fall into place.
But then they decided to have the match, you know, like on Monday Night Raw, like afterwards with no build-up and nobody cared about. I mean, like to me, it was a pay-per-view match. It was a pay-per-view match in the long term. But that's what I would have done. I would have built Reigns up for like a good year.
I'll tell you this now.
Ready to get his...
Do you know which villains Jake the Snake Roberts thinks get the most hate?
What? Currently now?
Jake the Snake Roberts, I've actually seen a video where he did a shoot, where he was doing a bit of a session where someone asked him, which villains, sort of villains, what type of villains do you think gets the most hate? And the irony of it is, the shit coward that you mentioned just, was number 2. Now,
What did he say was number one?
oh, the whiny crybaby heel.
Oh God, no, that's true.
And then he just goes, you whiny guy, I never got this. Oh, God. He literally just turns around and goes, even I have to say they pissed me off. And that's Jake the Snake.
Oh man, it's such an underrated mind of the business, Jake Roberts.
Definitely.
Because look, I heard Jake Roberts say a good couple of things. He says if you want the best storyline in wrestling, it has to be someone that everybody can understand and everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what draws people, because they can relate to it. And also, like I said, to be a good guy, you have to be somebody that the people can believe in, not somebody that's forced to be likable.
Yeah.
So I said, if the crowd start to like you, go with them, turn them, but do it smartly.
Exactly. Now, straight away, I'm going to give you... I've got a few more questions before we wrap up, which is, do you know anybody on your travels that you've seen? I want at least about one or two people, if necessary, that you've seen that may not be on that big level yet, but you can see them getting to it. The next up and comers.
Yeah, actually, I have got a couple. I have got some in mind. It's actually three names that are in my head at the minute.
Go for it.
And I rate them all so highly. Killian Jacobs,
Yep.
Joey Scott, and Millie McKenzie.
Top talents.
Tremendous to see Jake's transformation is Killian Jacobs, to see his transformation it's amazing. I really rate the guy. I love him. I love watching him wrestle. I actually wrestled with him last month, and that was intense, and I loved it. It really challenged me.
Fantastic wrestler.
Because I kept thinking to myself, it was one of those matches where I was like, oh, fuck, the pressure's on me. I've got to keep up with him. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Because, I've always said to myself, it's got to be a certain level, especially when they're at that level. It's like, I've got to try and get to that level for them. I don't want to bring them down. Yeah. And it did. It pushed me to that. And he actually came up to me afterwards and said he had a lot of fun in that match. And I took that as a real compliment. That was actually the night where he shaved my head.
You must have loved it.
As a heel, as you do. Got a big pop for it, so.
Oh, definitely. And the next question is, have you got anybody on your list you want to face down the road?
Oh. It's hard to say on that one. You know what? If I ever do get to that level, like Tyler's one guy I've always wanted to work with, Tyler Bate. Yeah. He's one I've always wanted to work with. It's because he does this like little press-up gimmick he used to. I don't know whether he still does, or whether he stopped it now for WWE, but he used to do this on the indies with the press-ups. And, when you watch something and you start to get ideas, I was like, I could do something. I could do something with that. Joseph Connors is another guy who, again, I always thought so highly of. I kept thinking to myself, he should have been in WWE sooner.
Yeah.
I always felt that about him.
He had something special, amazing, great talent, absolutely great talent.
Mind you won't know the first time I ever met Joseph Connors?
Go on.
I'm going back a few years now. I think it was around like 2012, 2013, something like that. But it was at LCW, Leicester Championship Wrestling, and I got called up, to be one of the fillers in their Royal Rumble. So as I'm getting ready to go, like I know what I've got to do. Well, I don't know what I've got to do. All I know is this is my number and this is who's eliminating me, go kind of thing. So I'm hyped up to go. And I was like, burst through, because I'm meant to be a babyface, and I'm very rarely a babyface, but I just went through and I was on fire. And just as I turn around, I'm about to bolt to the ring, I see Paul Malin, Joseph Connors, and Styx.
Oh.
My trunks got heavy that day. I just, yeah, now bear in mind, this is all happening in my head. I'm running to the ring, and in my head, I'm going, what the fuck am I supposed? Are they going to jump me? Am I going to get some offense? What? I just jumped in, and all I heard from the right of me was block, turn, pow, block, bang, boom, block, bang. I'm just blindly going with these guys. I get thrown over the top rope, shoulder got boom, shoulder. They're calling stuff to me. I'm like, I don't know who to, please, I don't know who to turn to. I'm new here, please.
Give me a break.
So first time I met Connors was blindly running into him in a Royal Rumble and then having a chat with him afterwards. I was saying, like, was that okay for you guys and everything? And they were having a laugh and a giggle because I said I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like blindly firing blanks. That was the first time I met Connors, and every other show I got onto with him, I always try and talk to him, and we did, like, we're good casual, like, we chat, we have a good chat. I ask him how he is, he asks me how I'm doing. We're not like, one of those that talk all the time, like we're good buddies, but when we see each other, we talk, and he's a sound guy. I like Connors.
There are a few people you will go out your way, just even if it's just a hi, hey up mate, how are you?
Yeah, and Connors was always one of those. Every time he wrestled, I always watched him because there was just something about him. Every time I watched his work, I was like, he should be bigger than this. He's doing so much. He's so good. And now he's finally there, which is, again, it's another guy I'm so proud of. I was really happy for him.
Definitely. And it is absolutely amazing. So there's yours. I'm going to just mention one move to you, and I want you to guess the meaning of it. What the meaning of it is.
Okay.
And let's just see if you come up with the same conclusion that every person that we've asked this question has said. DDT.
Okay. Jake the Snake.
You go Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake, DDT.
What does the DDT stand for?
Damien's dinner time.
Oh dear, you didn't go the usual way.
No, it's because it's one of those that's the one that sticks into my head because it was Jake was the originator of the DDT.
Yeah, and it was mine is the one that Jake the Snake says. What does the DDT stand for? The end.
That's it.
It's just genius.
That's the one. But like I said, for me, because that was one of them. Like it was one of those DDT, Damien's dinner time. It was one of those things they tried, but that's the way how I always remember it because it was Jay Roberts, the originator.
And the funny
but now it's just one of it's one of those moves now where it's just used that many times now. I mean, like back then when somebody hit it, oh god, that was it. That was over.
And I can name you one other person, one other moment where I've seen it hit perfect.
Yeah?
Arn Anderson, Alex Wright.
Yes. Arn Anderson.
Hitting Alex Wright with it. Did you see it?
Yep. I try and hit my DDTs like Jake or like Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those, you pull them in, and when you pull them in, it's not like a pull in and a drop, it's a pull in and a snap.
Yeah, just bump.
And I always do the classic, like how Jake does, it was the arm up.
Yeah.
You pull it in, you pull with your left arm, your right arm goes up, and then you slap the top of the shoulders, you give it a good slap, and you snap.
Yeah. And it's over.
And honestly, I love doing them like that. I mean, I can't say, if I've actually hit the snap properly, because it's just about as much the person taking it as it is you. But that's what I try and do. I always do the same. I always do the snap and then I love it.
Right. I'm going to have to say we're coming to near the end. Unfortunately, we can't do a song and dance as we normally do at certain shows when we meet up. Great memories.
Probably rambled on. Whether anybody will listen to this, are probably thinking, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Exactly. So we do apologise for it being an extended version of our interviews, but I hope
No,
we hope you enjoyed it and whatnot. One
you
thing
can
I will
always call me
say
up for
is,
part. You can always call me up for part two. It may be a little bit shittier. You may not want to listen to it, but it's always there.
it'd be one of them. Here comes part two. Not him again.
It's like, who are you? Your worst nightmare.
Round two, fight.
It's bad as well because I haven't able to do my impressions for people as well. Like I could do a few impressions as well.
Oh no, we'll have to save them for next time.
Oh man,
time.
no,
I will
not
say
even a
this.
little.
I will say this. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm very basic when it comes to social media because I just simply have not got time for it. I've only got Facebook, and it's Chris Drew. You always see the guy with the suit on the picture. That's me. That's how you can get in touch with me on social media.
It's always fancy.
Twitter I ain't got time for. Instagram I haven't got time for because I'm always so busy. I just haven't got time for it.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Pretty much. And I will say this. I have to say thank you very much for taking your time out for this interview. Far longer than what we expected, but that's always the case with yourself. We end up always rambling on and talk go a lot further, and we lose track of time.
So, like I say, we'll go to the next one. Go wait for the extended cut. It's 5 hours long.
Wait for the director's cut. 7.
Oh, the director's cut 7 hours long.
Anyway, so with that, from myself, I'm going to say check out the Burning Truth because we do actually have our usual broadcast, which is on Saturdays, and we will be hopefully getting a regular schedule for TBT Interviews, which is going to be every Friday. On YouTube that'll be. So our social media is we're on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and near enough everywhere. So, and we like to give a shout out to our usual lads who always provide support, which is the UK Wrestle Fan Zone and the UKWA. We appreciate the hard work that they put in. So, with that, stay well, stay safe, and as always, check out your local wrestling.
Check it.